Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Bill with Franklin Loan Center. Hope everyone's having a great week. Hey, I wanted to, be interesting to see if this ruffles any feathers, but I think a question that I hear often is like, and a question that comes up is just, how do I pick the right real estate agent? I mean, because the crazy thing is like, there are a lot of real estate agents to pick from in any given area. And how do you pick the right one, right? I mean, where do you find ones that are quality? Everyone's marketing says they're great. How do you actually vet through that? So, I mean, the most obvious answer is get a referral from someone that's already that's bought a house and had a great experience with a realtor. That's like by far the number one answer here is just, use someone that that was referred to you by someone you trust, and then had a great experience with them. So that's first. And by the way, those referrals can come from all over the place. They can come from friends that have bought before. Of course, I work with a bunch of real estate agents all the time. I'm more than happy to refer, and this is true of any mortgage person. So that it's real easy to get a referral. But that said, I know that a ton of people pick their realtor just off of all the different marketing that happens online and all these different places, and what are some of the questions and what are some of the things that you should be asking, right? Because there's a lot of marketing that's talking all about, it's all about commission, it's all about this, it's all about that. It's not all about any particular thing, right? It's so what are the things that you should really be thinking about? Like, of course the commission is part of it. You need to understand what it's going to cost you, but there's a lot more to it. And by the way, keep in mind that in almost every transaction, there's almost really not an exception to this, is when you're buying a house, in literally almost every case, there's only a few exceptions, the seller is paying your commission. So always keep that in mind. But on the seller side, that's a big expense if you're selling a house. So you need to know what the cost of that will be and what you'll ultimately net. But then there's other things like experience with negotiating. Negotiating is critical, right? I mean, like I think of this all the time. I mean, if you're charging a really low commission, but you're awful at negotiating, and you might actually end up with less as the home seller. You might actually end up with netting less out of your sale if they didn't do a good job negotiating. So I think negotiating is really important. There's lots of moving parts. I mean, just the standard California Association of Realtors form is 10 pages, plus all the addendums and everything else. So there's a lot to do there. Other things, market knowledge. Is really important. What does this person know about the area? Do they understand all the moving parts and ups and downs and all that kind of stuff? And I mentioned the contract. Do they know the contract well? Look, the standard contract's 10 pages. You really have to have command of those pages. I've seen plenty of transactions that went weird because of a thing in the contract that everybody didn't fully understand, and before you know it, there was some inroads. So, I think that's three of the big ones that you really need to be paying attention to. I'm sure there are more things, but local knowledge, understanding of the contract, and an ability to be able to negotiate and have really good negotiating skills, I would consider that the top three. If anyone is looking to purchase or sell a house and looking for a realtor, I'm more than happy to help with getting introduced to someone that would meet up with your needs really, really well. And that's all I have for today. I'm Bill with Franklin Loan Center, and thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you all next week.